Alright, I'm back again. This is going to be a slightly different video than what you usually expect. This is kind of like a cast iron time capsule, if you will. You've all heard how cast iron is supposed to be rough. That's how, that texture like you expect with Lodge cast iron. My grandmother hated Lodge cast iron with a passion. She was born in 1916, grew up in her grandfather and later father's general store. She knew a thing or two about cast iron. And she said that cast iron came smooth and came with just like a coating of oil or grease on it. And you had to clean it off, and then it was virgin cast iron. Now, before anyone says anything, this is actually kind of hot, but this is vintage cast iron, very lightly used. I think this was actually something my grandmother held on to. It's only been used a handful of times that I know of. And as you can see, where it's got those ridges in the circular pattern, that's where they went in and polished it at the factory. They had, best I can tell, something that just went in, and maybe it was some sort of dye that's the exact size, and they just went in and smoothed that out. And it's even on the edge. Even like the handle, which is a little warm itself, is very smooth. The edge, or the side, is very smooth. Smoother than what you'll find on Lodge cast iron. And you think, oh, that's just one example. Here's one that's that's also quite old, as you can tell. Handle, really smooth. But let's take a look on the inside. This is a little harder to see. You can see like this streak here at the end of my finger, black streak. That's where the seasoning is a bit thicker. Where it's lighter is where it's very thin. This one needs a little extra loving when it warms up and dries up a bit. But as you can see, even where the lighter is, that's all smooth. There's no signs of ridges. This is glass smooth skillet, and as you can tell, this is not rough at all. This came more than likely, if it didn't come smooth like this from the factory, it came like this from the factory and just got worn down by the years. But either way you stack it, this is the way vintage cast iron was. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Anyway, also, I believe the rough cast iron came about in the 50s. I researched it once upon a time, but I think it came about in the 50s. Lodge claimed it was so the seasoning would stick better to it. It was just to save a buck on having to do stuff like that. Anyway, later.